Why am I so angry? We think of anger as explosive, but most anger begins quietly and goes back as far as childhood. It's how our body learns to guard the parts of us that weren't safe to feel. Anger isn't just one thing, it's a symptom, not a root, and it shows up in different forms depending on what it's protecting. Anger is rarely the first feeling, it's the armor. Beneath it, there's almost always fear, shame, grief, and unmet needs. And unless we get curious about that root, we just keep bleeding on people who didn't cut us. And before we go deeper, here's my disclaimer. Just because anger has a root doesn't mean you have to tolerate being hurt by it. If you're on the receiving end of someone else's unprocessed anger, especially if it's constant, manipulative, or threatening, you deserve safety, not just understanding. Compassion is not a replacement for boundaries. Here's a breakdown of 6 common types of anger, each with its own root, adult behavioral examples, and a childhood home life origin, with its corresponding emotional need beneath it. Maybe you feel seen in ways that are both healing and enlightening. Number 1, control based anger. The root emotion is fear, helplessness, and powerlessness. Childhood origin story: you were surrounded by chaos growing up, unpredictability, and emotional neglect. Perhaps this chaos and unpredictability in your household came from a parent that had mood swings, addiction, or untreated mental illness. You learned to stay hyper alert to survive. If I keep everything under control, I'll be safe. Maybe you never knew when the next blow up would come, so neglect almost felt less violent. Today, your anger might look like explosive reactions or snapping when plans change or things feel out of order, micromanaging others, you get irritable when not in control, you need things done precisely and exactly how you like them, or else you feel angry when someone doesn't do things right. As a kid, you never knew what version of your parents you were going to get, so now if something's out of place, you freak out. It's like your body goes into a panic mode. If you're on the receiving end, don't try to fix the person or walk on eggshells. That feeds the control. Set firm but calm boundaries like, I won't be spoken to that way. Offer choices to return control healthily. Would you prefer to do this now or after a break? This person fears chaos because they lived in it, but that doesn't mean they get to control you to feel safe. Number 2, validation seeking anger. Root emotion, shame, and rejection. Childhood origin story, criticism, feeling invisible or not enough. Perhaps you had parents who were dismissive, critical, or emotionally unavailable. You felt invisible or only valued for achievement. You grew up always trying to prove you were good enough. You never really felt seen or validated. Today, this looks like overreacting to being misunderstood or dismissed, rage when someone questions your competence or opinion. You react strongly to feeling ignored, interrupted, or misunderstood. You may feel disrespected easily. You might get loud or emotionally intense when trying to explain yourself. No one ever really listened to you growing up. You had to scream to be heard. Now, if someone talks over you, you lose it. It's not about the conversation, it's about never being seen that you're running from. If you're on the receiving end of this, don't take the outburst personally. It's not really about you. Calmly reflect what you hear. Your response can be, it sounds like you felt dismissed when I said that. But don't tolerate emotional manipulation to constantly soothe their ego. Number 3, suppressed, resentful anger. The root emotion is grief, unmet needs, and boundary violations. The origin story is growing up in a people pleasing upbringing, being the nice one, emotional suppression. You were expected to be the good kid, the helper, the one who doesn't cause any problems, emotionally neglected while being praised for being so mature for your age. You were rewarded for suppressing feelings and punished directly or subtly for expressing needs. If you spoke up, did your parents give you the cold shoulder afterwards? Did they say, I expected this from your brother, but you? And all you did was express your feelings. You're hurt, and so you stopped speaking up. In adulthood, this looks like passive aggressiveness, chronic irritation, sarcasm, emotional withdrawal, and avoidance, explosive outburst after long silence, quietly building resentment, then you explode seemingly out of nowhere. You may often say, I'm fine, while feeling anything but okay. You feel unappreciated, overworked, taken for granted. This kind of anger leads to an emotional shutdown and self sabotage. You learned early that asking for anything made you a burden, so you didn't ask. Now you do everything yourself, and then you resent everyone for letting you do it. If you're on the receiving end of this person may not voice their needs, then blame you for not meeting them. Invite open conversation, but don't chase their emotions. You can say, if something's bothering you, I'm open to hearing it, but I can't guess, and I can't read your mind. Don't fall into guilt trips or over accommodate them. You can care without caring. Their silence isn't your fault. Number 4, protective trauma response anger. Root emotion, vulnerability, fear of betrayal, danger, or threats. Childhood origin story is rooted in abuse, violation, or an unsafe environment. Perhaps you grew up in an unsafe environment. Could be physical, sexual, or emotional trauma. You learned that being vulnerable equals being hurt, and so you developed anger as a shield to keep others out and stay in control. What it looks like now, defensiveness that flares up quickly, unregulated nervous system, pushing people away when feeling too close or exposed. You may feel like the world isn't safe, so you have to protect yourself at all costs. Quick to snap or shut down in emotional situations. You get defensive when receiving feedback or feeling exposed. And you tend to armor up in relationships, always on the defensive, always expecting the worst because why wouldn't it? That's all you knew growing up. Letting someone in has never felt safe, so when you feel too seen, too close, you lash out. You don't want to hurt people, but you're scared they'll hurt you first. If you're on the receiving end of this, recognize that their anger is often fear and armor, but that armor can still wound. If they become emotionally volatile or unpredictable, prioritize your emotional and physical safety. Encourage therapy, but don't be their emotional punching bag. Trauma isn't a free pass to mistreat people. You can love someone and still walk away if it's not safe. Number 5, righteous moral anger. The root emotion is injustice and betrayal of values. The origin story is often rooted in witnessing or experiencing unfairness. You may have witnessed or experienced injustice, for example, abuse, racism, even favoritism. You felt powerless to stop it, but developed a strong internal sense of right and wrong. And so you became the protector for yourself and or others. You were the kid who watched your siblings get hit or ignored and couldn't do anything about it. Now you can't stand by when something feels wrong, even if it costs you. What it looks like today, deep sense of justice. You tend to speak up for others, defending them fiercely, easily outraged by hypocrisy or cruelty. You may become angry when boundaries are crossed, systems fail, or people are harmed. You may feel that since no one protected you or others in similarly vulnerable positions growing up, that it's up to you to speak up and protect them now. Your kind of anger can be productive, as it can be channeled into activism or advocacy. If you're on the receiving end, this type of anger is often rooted in protection, but it can sometimes come off as moral superiority or black and white thinking. If it's directed at you, ask them, is this about me or something that the situation reminds you of? Don't let someone's crusade turn into personal judgment. They may be right in their cause, but that doesn't mean they're right in how they treat you. Number 6, displaced anger. The root emotion is unprocessed stress, helplessness, powerlessness, and confusion. Childhood origin story, chronic emotional invalidation. You were taught to suppress, direct confrontation. You likely weren't allowed to express frustration safely. Your parents may have punished or mocked emotions. You may have never learned how to process difficult feelings or express them directly, so you internalize that anger is bad, but still feel it deeply. In adulthood, your behavior looks like taking anger out on the wrong person, maybe your kids, partners, even strangers. Irrational blow-ups at minor things. You ask your son to bring you a glass of water, and as they're handing it over to you, they spill some on the floor. You feel this intense bubbling of frustration and inexplicable anger. Why can't they do anything right for once? And you blow up. You yell, you scream, and you make them feel small. And the worst part is, it was never really about the spilled water. You may constantly feel on edge. Small inconveniences set off huge reactions. You don't know how to express what's really hurting. You blew up on your son, but in reality, you had a rough day at work. Your boss was upset about a task you missed, and now you're redirecting your anger onto the wrong person. Self awareness, redirection, and permission to feel is what you need to work on because you may be hurting those around you. You weren't allowed to be upset growing up. You'd get in trouble or be told to stop whining. Now you're bottling things up until they spill out on the people who don't even deserve it. If you're on the receiving end, you're likely not the real cause. They just feel safest snapping at you. Point out the pattern gently but firmly. You can say something like, it seems like you're taking out something on me that isn't mine. Step away when needed. This type can learn, but only with awareness. Being someone's emotional dumping ground isn't love, it's self abandonment. Now I extend you an invitation to reflection. If you see yourself in any of these, it's not about shame, it's about honesty. You're not broken, but you are responsible for how your pain touches other people. You can break the pattern. Anger doesn't have to be your legacy, it can be your signal that something in you still wants love, safety, and expression. Start there. Comment, like, and follow for more.